survivor.
Yes, Napoleon, you may be the lone survivor, but you will conquer your empire again. Hello everybody of YouTube, this is Cypher and we're back playing some Divinity Original Sin 2. We're going to just start exploring this wonderful island, and the game has dropped us off. Ancient statue of Brachus Rex. Yep, that looks like a statue of a tyrant. Oh, an NPC. Tam.
The child has a small mirror in his hands. He holds it up at angles, inspecting his eyes, his chin, the crown of his head. He spots you, and his arms snap to his sides.
I'm not supposed to talk to dwarves.
Tell him you're just a person. You wouldn't harm him.
The child considers your statement.
If you're just a person, you're one of the smallest I've ever seen.
Smile and tell him that little people have big futures ahead of them.
Little people? Like me, you mean, I guess.
He pauses.
Are you a sorcerer? One of those guys that brings the bad void things here?
Nod, you are, and by the looks of that collar around his neck, so is he.
The child looks at you straight on, unafraid, searching your face. He lifts his mirror to his nose, closes one eye, and looks at himself again.
I don't see any source on you or me. I guess they're wrong. Or crazy.
Tell them they may well be wrong and crazy.
Maybe you're right. At least they don't mind where anyone goes. They know we can't leave the island, and it's a lot nicer out here than inside.
Say it isn't safe out here. Your ship was attacked by Voidwoken, not far off this shore.
But you didn't die.
Say you survived the Voidwoken attack by the skin of your teeth. You should really find somewhere safer to go.
There isn't anywhere safer. That's what I mean. You'll see.
Well, on that note, best to be sneaking around. The minimap says we have two enemies. Dead ahead, Captain. Two.
Those are the same beasts that sank our ship. Damn. They made it to shore.
Two voidlings. Threat moderate for being only a single. Well, I can match them man to man already, but loot wise, I don't think that's much of a reward for the risk. Let's mark this for later. Ah, the Red Prince. This lady eat ass. Or lizard.
You spot a strange lizard, gazing over the water with a steady, malcontent stare. His skin is of a bright, blood-red color. Could he be... Yes, you recognize him from the ship. It would seem you're not the only one who survived the tentacles of the deep.
Greet him heartily and say you're glad to see he survived the shipwreck.
The lizard turns about with the graceful ease of a dancer, or a duelist. You lock eyes with his, two smouldering embers that sizzle your very soul.
I did survive, yes. And chances are I wouldn't have, had you not returned to the aid of your fellow passengers down in that dreadful hole. You have my gratitude.
So, not a complete ass.
Hand over heart, he salutes you with a bob of the head. More than a nod, though less than a bow.
Tell him you were glad to be of help. Doesn't do to stand idly when people are in danger.
Yes, I'm sure you've all the makings of a hero and all that, but let's not get carried away, shall we? Now then, if there's nothing further...
Ask what he's doing here standing on that rock.
I'm sure I don't mean to sound condescending, but I had thought it quite self-evident I was gazing out over the waves.
No, I think you're completely incapable of not sounding condescending.
He sighs dramatically.
Tell me, what do you see when you cast your glance over this ocean?
Say that as of last night you see a crack-infested wasteland you never want to go near again.
Touché.
He looks out over the water once more, and so do you. A few tranquil moments pass as the waves lap against your thoughts.
As for myself, when I consider this vast expanse before us, I see an empire. I see continents dotted with mighty cities. And shimmering along the soft curve of the sea's horizon, I picture the palaces that formed my paradise. Lost.
Shrug and say people see castles in the sky. Might as well see them in the sea.
Yes, but these weren't castles in the sky, were they? Quite obviously, I was musing over the very actual empire that I lost.
Suddenly, having all the air of being deeply offended, he stares at you with utter incredulity.
Well, don't just stand there gawking like an ape at an abacus. Or do you really mean to tell me you don't know who I am?
No clue. No lick. Haven't seen you before. Smack your forehead. Of course, every blue blood knows the Red Prince.
The very same. I am the Red Prince, the All-Conqueror, the World-Tamer, the Spouse of the Sun. Of course you know me.
There's a brief moment's pause, during which his grandiloquent pose deflates ever so slightly.
That said, I suppose I must own up to the fact that I find myself rather in between all-conquering and world-taming opportunities at the moment. The grandeur that is my fate has hit a bit of a snag. But never you worry. For the throne I was destined, and my throne I shall have.
Okay. It looks like we can recruit him as a companion, but he seems to be a bit of a drama queen. Albeit though, he's a rather unique companion, being a lizard, after all. And it might be funny to gather scales, so to speak. And we were trying to find a good replacement for Fane. Say that you too have this and that to sort out. He's welcome to tag along if he wants.
This and that? Tag along? Do you really mean to compare the fate of an empire to whatever foibles you seek to fix? On the other hand, I really could do with a dog's body. And you've already proven to be trustworthy enough. You came back for the others on that ship, after all. Fine, I accept. On one condition. For reasons I'll not disclose right now, it is imperative that I should meet with a dreamer, one of the mystics of my kind. I've reason to believe one of them may be present on this island. Promise me we'll look for him, and I'll extend you the blessing of my company.
He doesn't seem to quite understand what's going on here. Beggars can't be choosers. Promise him.
Jolly good. So, now that that's settled, first things first. Even if you are as versed in the art of eloquence as I am, that our swords will be doing a lot of the talking from here on out goes without saying. As a born fighter, I prefer the perfection of the blade myself. But I'm well acquainted with the secrets of magic, and yes, even subterfuge. What say you?
Well, if he is a lizard...
Wizardry is embedded in my nature as deeply as the instincts to breathe and drink and mate. The dominion over fire suits me best, truth be told, but there is no school of magic I cannot master.
Now that I am not being interrupted, he shall be a lizard wizard. So you're looking for an ML powerhouse? A wizard will do. That would make him a DPS. Which would be a bit more efficient than an archer by doing damage to multiple characters. And if given enough time, we can turn him into an elementalist, which would be a character that would have access to nearly all of the spells. And lizards get a passive bonus to persuasion, which would allow us to bypass most of the fights by just simply talking. Unless he causes a fight. He doesn't seem to get along well with a lot of people.
Very well. Onwards then to victory or death.
No, that
The
sells
Red
it.
Prince nods and gives you a smile that wavers ever so delicately between courtesy and contempt.
Now, as you're aware, you'll be travelling with a prince. Proper forms of address include Your Majesty, Your Royal Highness, or if you're feeling particularly frivolous, Milord. As your luck would have it, I seem to be fresh out of luggage, so you won't be required to carry my belongings. Of course, there are other forms of protocol to bear in mind, but I'll see to it you'll pick up the rest as we go. So, without further ado, let us be off.
Well, since we're being companion, and your proper address to me shall be Bud, Buddy, or if you're flavorous, as
Black
Bubster.
cat. Kitty.
A second game in a row, that gives me a cat. Are games trying to tell me something?
She's gone, Father. God, yeah, what of it?
I told him I know exactly.
Come on then, Lexi. Pay up.
I find only bread. You, help me teach this beast. He must respect. If not, he comes for you next.
Respect? Huh. Someone's got to keep this place running. Griff can't do it for free. Why'd you...
An intense-looking man steps between the thug and the elf and rolls up his sleeves, revealing well-muscled and heavily scarred arms. You recognize him. It's Ifan, who you met aboard the ship on the way here.
Just stand aside, won't you, mate? This is no business of yours.
Lone wolves decide their own business.
The thug freezes in fear for a moment, before shuffling back to the protection of his crony.
Pay up, elf. No one shorts Griff. Especially not one of you.
Stand beside Ifan and tell the thug to back off.
Burrow looks you both up and down, sizing up your combined threat.
Ah, get out of here. The both of you. You ain't worth the sweat on my brow anyhow.
The elf smiles and bows to you in thanks.
Follow me, before more of them trouble us. There is a safe place.
Ah, we got leveled up. Let's try to get a balance of summoning and leadership on Napoleon. Keep boosting sneaking so we can get anywhere we need before dropping an army on everybody's heads. Let us see here. And persuasion.
Ifan rolls his sleeves back down. He nods at you, the shadow of a smile on his lips.
Good work there. Good work. I can tell you've got chops. Say, you were on the ship here with me, weren't you?
Yep.
He stretches out one rough hand to shake yours.
Smile and reach out a hand to shake his.
He grips your hand tight as a vice and shakes it, hard.
Say, you don't look all that busy now that we're safely on dry land. I could use someone to watch my back, and it looks like you could use someone to watch yours. I've just got a small errand to run, and then I'll be looking to get the hell out of here while I've still got a neck to collar. How about we stick together until we get out of this place?
Say the thugs were afraid when he mentioned lone wolves. What are they?
He shrugs, looking off to the side.
Mercenaries. It's a job. My job.
You're keen to get out of here. How does he think that will happen?
The usual way. Haphazard, terrifying, and drenched in blood. Haven't quite worked out the details yet, but I'll wager it'll be no worse than what'll happen if we stay put. 2 heads are better than 1, and when push comes to shove, 4 fists are better than 2, right?
Nod.
He grins, sharp teeth glittering in the midday sun.
So, before we hit the road, it's best if we decide battle strategies up front. Should keep more of our blood in. Survival's my main priority. I'll use every trick in the book to keep us alive. But if a wayfarer's not what you're after, I've got other skills. What do you need?
Ask if he has any martial experience.
Too much, you might say. I can make them bleed any which way you want. Which is?
Well, we have a summoner. We have a wizard. Well, wizard lizard. What we really need is a tank at the moment. So a fighter it is.
Can do. Onwards.
Nah, that sells it.
He scans the horizon for threats with one green eye, then nods back at you.
Right you are. Lead the way.
Oh, I don't feel so good.
So we got a dwarf, a human, and a lizard. Now let's go and look for a elf.
This is Fort Joy.
What a crumbling disaster.
Surely you'll have one. Please.
Scram, snake face.
Main reason why
Don't want to catch Griff in a bad mood.
butter.
Heading into the kitchen? Don't try anything funny around Griff. I'm watching you.
Ask if she likes what she sees.
Ha! Cheeky. What's your name?
My name is Napoleon, mademoiselle.
I'm Butter. Nice to meet you.
Say she looks strangely familiar. You could swear you've met before.
You mean it? Or is that another line of yours? I used to play the harp, you know. Mostly around Arcs, although sometimes we'd travel down to Driftwood. Might be you saw one of my performances.
Ask how she got involved with Griff's thugs. She doesn't seem the type for shakedowns and bashing.
You think? I was raised by the whip, and I'm not afraid to use one either, especially not in here. Joining up with Griff's the closest thing you can get to security around here. Family, too. Till the Reds take you, anyway.
Say you'd rather get back to your family than join one here. Or say you don't plan to live here. Yeah, that sounds better.
Everyone talks a big game when they get here. Big games get smaller when you've got one of their weapons in your face, though.
Tell her you're dead serious about it, and when you find a way out, she should come to you.
She laughs. The sound fills the air like the ringing of a bell.
Now, wouldn't that be something? Look, I have an idea. I know we don't know each other very well, but time is so short, and a connection is so rare. If we get out of here, will you meet me again in Arcs?
She leans forward and grazes your cheek with her lips.
Until then, nice and slow.
Just as you're about to address the lizard, the Red Prince bars you with an outstretched arm.
This man is a dreamer. As you know, I need a word with him. You may wait here while I speak.
Why, very well. Tell him your
Permission indeed.
He bids the dreamer stand up and pay attention, which he does in a groveling and awkward manner. The dreamer then chews and swallows a handful of Drudenay leaves before slipping into a trance-like state. He falls asleep. To your surprise, the Red Prince lies down and follows suit. After about half an hour, they wake up and begin to discuss what they saw in their dreams. The Red Prince pinches the bridge of his nose in apparent irritation before turning his back on the jabbering dreamer.
Smile, tell him you couldn't help but overhear some of the nuggets of wisdom he just received.
You receive a withering glance in response.
A deserved bit of sarcasm, I suppose. But though this stingtail fellow may be a less than stellar specimen in the firmament of dreamers, the dreams themselves prove to be quite elucidating. Turns out I'm being hunted by an enemy I didn't know actually existed. The myth-shrouded House of Shadows.
Sounds edgy.
The dreamers, though, they're on my side. And they've visions of me on the throne.
Tell him you've little faith in visions.
That's because you haven't seen that other world in all its glory. It is majestic, fit for a prince. Oh, I was born with the promise of an empire, and that promise will be kept. But to keep it, I must find a second dreamer, a greater one, a more experienced traveler of the dream world. Bahara is her name, and she resides in the swamplands east of the fort. So, let us make our escape and venture there post-haste.
You know, I could tell you all about swamp dreamers too, if I chewed that much Drudene.
Oh, do hold your prickly tongue.
Really? There's drugs in this world. Oh, an elf.
Amid the squalor of Fort
Maybe
Troy,
she wants to be
you
our
suddenly
friend.
spot an elf with diamond features, regal and radiant, but cold too, and sharper than any knife. She was the one who sat rolling dice in the ship that went under, deciding fates with every roll. Or so she said. Her eyes are focused on a lizard some distance away, and you get the distinct feeling he's an unfortunate man indeed to be trapped in her tiger-like gaze.
Walk to her and say, "Hello, it's good to see her again."
No sooner have these words left your mouth than she turns about and grabs you in a stranglehold. You feel the tip of a long needle being pushed a little ways into your neck.
Yep, this is about the state of reaction I get from women.
To you, I am this pressing pain you wish would go away, but won't.
A push, a pivot, and now you suddenly face her. The needle still all too deeply embedded in the side of your throat. Despite the precariousness of your situation, you notice something that remained undetected in the gloom of the ship. A flaw in her diamond features. A curiously shaped scar on her left cheek.
Ask her how she got that scar.
Let me tell you a little story. Once upon a bad old time, a lizard cut this thing, this living scar, into my cheek. The mark of a slave. But now I'm free, of sorts. And I've traced that lizard here, to Fort Joy. I intend to raise the subject with him.
Point out you're not that lizard.
She drives the needle in deeper and whispers.
In truth, it does not matter in the least who you really are. You saw me mark my prey. You could warn him, save him, or kill him before I get my chance. That makes you a liability. That makes you needle feed.
Homicidal old lady, okay. Make her an offer. Instead of killing you, she could join you.
A bright sparkle of laughter follows your proposal.
Ha! How amusing. I admit I had not seen that twist coming. I was certain the pitiful begging was about to begin. Make your case and do it quickly. Why should I join you?
Say you're planning your escape, and you need a people with talents like hers.
Escape? How you do tickle me. Most of the misguided deers around here would argue such a thing is impossible.
Remind her you saved her from certain death back on that ship. Just saying.
Well played. Oh, little needle mine, what should I do? Push or pull? The agony of choice. You know what? Today is a rather fine day. Sunshine and an easy breeze. Yes, I'll let you live. I'll even agree to travel with you, provided we talk to that lizard I mentioned. I'm not quite sure the weather will save him.
With a casual flick of the wrist, she withdraws the needle from your neck and smiles, as if she just invited you to sit down for tea.
Let's discuss our respective roles then, shall we? You, me, and Death will be playing many a round of hide-and-seek. So, what role would you like me to play? As a rogue, my speciality is stealth, the quick silence of the dagger striking unseen. That said, I'm perfectly lethal wielding any weapon or magic. So, the choice is yours.
Well, we have a battle controller, a tank, a mage. What we really need is a support character. Ask if she knows much magic.
But of course, I can play the strings of magic like a harpist her instrument. Is there any specific tune that takes your preference?
Say you're in need of a cleric, someone who can heal and support your team.
Suits me fine. Lead on. Or better yet, let me take the lead.
No, that sells it.
Then follow me.
You're not quite certain you'll ever sleep soundly with Sabine in any sort of proximity, but at least she's on your side, for the moment.
This seems to be a rather good team. But let's test it. To the beach! Let's test it on these bugs. Napoleon sneaks in to get the bug's attention. Then we'll bring in Ifan. To get a good angle on the voidlings. And use the bottle stomp skill to knock them down and get a good CC. Then bring up Red Prince. And use Fire Breath to set burning on them. And since Sybil is not needed at the moment, keep her in reserve. There we go.
Stare at the slain beasts and comment that they must have been the cause of the shipwreck.
They're just animals, easy enough to empathize.
They didn't put up much of a fight. Dry land mustn't suit them.
It was good to see some of them bleed after what they did to the ship.
Good riddance.
A rather bloodthirsty lot, this group.
Drowned and eaten by a void woken. I wonder in which order.
I don't want to know. So far, it's actually proving to be a rather efficient team. And I should leave you there. You know the whole drill. Like, comment, subscribe, wonderful people of YouTube, and help me make more videos like this in the future.